everyone, I hope you're all really well, and if you're watching this then you're probably watching to arrange your Valentine's flower box with me today, or maybe you're just watching to enjoy some flower arranging, which is also absolutely fine. And today we are making a really beautiful vase arrangement, just really kind of rich and kind of abundant and almost like dense with flowers, which is really a really lovely kind of way to arrange with these particular flowers, which are some of my all-time favourites. And I'll talk you through them now. So we have got a bunch of really fragrant, lovely Eucalyptus cinerea down the bottom there. Then we've got some beautiful white double tulips. Now these will arrive probably slightly even more closed than this. These have been conditioned overnight now. So they're just starting to peep open, but they open out to be, they look incredibly different, and they've just got this really yellowy yolk middle, which just gives a kind of lovely pop of spring as well. And then these ranunculus are, I mean, I love all ranunculus, but this particular variety are called Hanois, and they have to be my favourite. They are just romantic on a whole new level for me. And then we've got these beautiful Sweet Avalanche pink roses. Again, just kind of starting to take a sort of deeper pink out of the ranunculus there. And then we're using some carnations here. So whenever I share these, people are always amazed that these are carnations, but they really are. And they're just a beautiful colour. There's so many ruffles, and again, they will arrive quite tightly closed. And these last, the longevity of carnations is incredible. So yeah, weeks for those. And then we've also got some beautiful Ginesta, which just gives some really beautiful movement throughout the design, and obviously like a nice little pop of the colour. So it kind of, I feel like it brings everything together. So yeah, some really beautiful ones. And if you haven't already opened your box, then obviously open the box and take everything out. Give everything a really good snip, remove any of the lower foliage, and just leave it in a vase or buckets, somewhere cool in your home. Utility is perfect probably, or just somewhere away from direct heat, and let them sit and drink, and then come to arrange them a little bit later on, and they will be perfect. So yeah, these have been conditioning overnight now, and it's really important to consider the size of vase that you're using, because some of the stems that we're working with are quite short. As you can see, like the ranunculus here, is about 40 centimetres. Now I'm using our medium apothecary vase, and this is a perfect vase for spring flowers. If you can see, if I were to put it in this vase, which is the large, it's going to get lost a little bit within the arrangement because it's going to be relatively big by the time we finish. So we want to make sure that everything is being seen. And the same for tulips, they're also a shorter variety. So yeah, consider your vase and fill it up with tepid water, so a little bit of hot, a little bit of cold. And yeah, kind of 3/4 full on this one. And we're going to start by building up a bit of a base, kind of an overall shape with our eucalyptus stems. And I've already prepped these so that some of the foliage is free from the bottom, but I always re-snip my stems before they go in water. So you can see here, like, none of the leaves are sitting kind of within, so I'd even be tempted to remove those ones, because as we put more flowers in, it's going to get more dense, and we want to be able to get the flowers in easily without there being leaves in, and it makes for an overall very clean looking stems in the vase, which is what we want. I'm just kind of crisscrossing these over and having a look at size and wondering if that's actually a little bit too big. So I'm just going to remove these side shoots off, and you can keep all of these side shoots, and if you've got any bud vases at home or little jars, these are perfect for them, and it's a lovely way of kind of extending your arrangement. Like if you had it down your dining table, you had the vase in the middle, and you can just put the bud vases kind of either side. And things will move around at first in a vase, and that's completely normal because obviously they're not all going to be supported until you start building up other vases, and I'd really like this eucalyptus to kind of stand kind of up a little bit more, and it will do eventually. I mean, it's even just doing it a little bit there, and I'm not too worried about it now because I know that once I get other flowers in, I can manipulate that more easily to move where I want it to. So it's quite an even shape, and the whole design, I want it to be relatively even. I'm not going for something asymmetric here or anything like that, just a really beautiful big bowl of of just beautiful flowers. So paying attention to the evenness around the vase. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. Spin that around so you can see as well. And then once you're happy with the base shape that you've formed, we're going to use a little bit of the Ginesta, which just smells beautiful. It's kind of got this like lemony kind of fragrance to it, which I love. And I'm going to save some of the stems to come back to at the end because it's nice to poke a few of them in. But yeah, I just want a few at the moment to kind of drape a little bit over the side because it has just such a lovely natural tendency to do that. And I'm just stripping away some of these lower little shoots because they're just a little bit too low. And it's just a beautiful flower that kind of breaks up all the shapes of the other flowers. Okay, and then for the actual flowers, I'm going to start by using our biggest flowers, which are the Sweet Avalanche Roses, which are opening up really beautifully, so quickly actually, from the way they were last night. And I always leave a few of the leaves on, particularly on these roses. They're actually really attractive leaves, and some roses they just aren't. So nice 45-degree cut on the roses, and just think about the height against everything else. So this is my absolute top point of my arrangement. I don't want anything to now come higher than that. So nice midpoint for the roses. But I want them to be seen. I really want the roses to be enjoyed. And obviously this is a complete 360 arrangement. So it's good to keep turning it as you're making it. And it's also really good to stand back from your arrangement. It just helps you see how it's all coming together from a bit of a distance. You've got 5 of these. And then the next flower we're going to be using are the Carnations. Now, if yours are a little bit more closed, there are some over here that are, I'll show you, more closed. Like this one, for example. If yours still look like this, by the time you're making your arrangement, it's absolutely fine. Just allow them a little bit of room to open. You can see the difference between this one and this one is crazy. So yeah, they do need a little bit of space to fan out and show you all their petals. And these are really long stems, so just strip away the little leaves, which are all the way down the length of the entire stem. And I personally don't find these leaves too attractive, so I do tend to get rid of most of them. And when you cut them, always cut them above or below the nodule. You don't want to cut them on the nodule because it might take away where it takes up its water. Now, because these are, when they're open, they're a relatively similar size to the rose. So you kind of want to put these in between and at slightly different heights. It's nice to have some that are knocked back a little bit behind them and some that are perhaps a little bit forward. So just a case of poking in, but just paying attention to how it looks. You want to avoid creating any lines in the design, as it just often looks a little bit forced and scientific, which flowers absolutely aren't. So you can see there how that one's just slightly further back. And actually I'm going to change this one. Can you see these are just maybe a little bit too similar? So I'll just take that one back out. And that's the beauty of making vase arrangements, is that you can easily just take the flowers out, in and out as many times as you want until you're happy with them. And it's really nice at this stage, all the stems just suddenly start to support each other. You can probably see in the bottom here now how they're all kind of crisscrossing over, and they're all really neat. So the only leaves that you can see are just the very top of those eucalyptus ones. So that's key to kind of making everything look really clean and kind of neat, but also, you know, it's not clinical looking. So now that we've added in those, and once you're happy with their placement, I'm going to go in with the tulips next, actually, because I find that the tulips they're quite leafy and green, and they're actually quite big when you look at them like that. They're a very chunky, wide stem, so trying to poke them at the very end can sometimes be a bit difficult. And it's up to you. I do quite like to remove that very lower leaf if it's a little bit big, always recutting the end. And I always think tulips do look beautiful around the edge of a vase, just kind of placed in like that. But you've got 10 of these, so really generous amount to kind of go everywhere with these. All the way around, kind of lower, some a little bit in the middle. And again, these open out really wide, so they do need a little bit of room to open. And I find that even if some of the tulips don't touch the bottom of the vase, I've kind of got one in there that's being supported by so many others, and it's fine. As long as it's in the water, then you're okay. And it's quite nice because you can have a few of them a little bit higher then. it just suddenly starts to build up and create a really, really beautiful and quite simple but classic vase arrangement. And I don't know about you, but well, perhaps you're similar if you're doing this with me, but I think Valentine's flowers are often symbolised by the reds and red roses and everything like that, but I personally prefer to have these kind of combination of colours in our home than reds. I do find reds a little bit overpowering. Obviously they symbolise love and everything, which is beautiful, but I don't think it's any harm in enjoying different flowers for their beauty. Just standing back from this one a little bit. And at this point I'm going to start putting a little bit of the Ginesta in as well, because I feel like I'm lacking a little bit of height throughout here, so this will work perfectly. And this whole stem is bothering me slightly, so I'm going to turn it around. Because now that there are loads of stems in there, it's much more easily positioned to where I want it to be. So can you see how all of a sudden that's completely bridged that kind of gap that was there, and then this will do a lovely job of helping that even further. A little bit longer actually. And obviously I'm showing you how to do a vase arrangement with this, but with your flowers you could do so many different things. I mean, I think like a beautiful tablescape just with, you know, loads of bud vases just kind of dotted all down the length of the table would be so pretty. You could also keep all of these little offshoots of your Ginesta for your bud vases, which make really lovely tiny little sprigs that last for ages with your Eucalyptus. So I'll just save a few of those. And then last but by absolutely no means least, our beautiful Ranunculus can go in. And I find these are kind of a mid size between the roses and the tulips and the carnations that we've been using. So yeah, a really good one to kind of balance everything out. So obviously recut the end of the stem as usual and nestle these in just to be really enjoyed. And I just think they really finish off the design so beautifully. I personally would much rather 10 of these Ranunculus than 10 red roses any day. Now some of these you might find difficult to get them into the arrangement when they've got these sort of side shoots of the buds on, and the buds are really pretty. So again, just gently peel them back away from the stem and holding them closely, and keep those for your little bud vases. If you can get them in, then they do look pretty. it's getting really full and dense now. Just keep turning and having a look for the spaces. We've got 2 little ones left. There you go, that's the last one gone in. Just going to have a little tidy up with this. It's got very wet. And then I'm really going to kind of stand back and just make sure that I'm happy with the placement of everything that's in there. And I always think it's one of those nice things actually, because I often leave these on our coffee table, or arrangements like this. So when I'm kind of getting ready to settle down for the evening, I'll just notice something and I'll move it around, or as things kind of go over, I'll take them out. And it becomes kind of a different look completely. So yeah, I think I'm happy with it from that side. Yeah, looking very romantic and soft, and just kind of this really blushy toned pinks, and the whites are just really, really, really beautiful, for want of a better word. Yeah, so I think I'm happy with that. And in terms of caring for them, try and change the water. If you can, every 2 days is brilliant, and if not, then every 3 to 4 days. It will really, really help the longevity of your flowers. And you can recut the stems as well, particularly if you notice if the water's getting a little bit murky. But otherwise, yeah, they should bring you so much joy, and I hope they do. And I hope you've really enjoyed creating a design with them. And obviously, whatever you're up to this Valentine's, then I hope that you have a really, really lovely time celebrating. Thank you so much.